Welcome to LendingCon 2024 podcast, your go-to source for everything lending related. Hi, I'm Dan.
And I'm Jim, and we're thrilled to be your guides through the exciting world of LendingCon, the Hospitality Investment, Development, and Lending Conference.
That's right. Whether you're a seasoned professional or just dipping your toes into the lending pool, LendingCon is the event you can't afford to miss.
Get ready to dive deep into the latest trends, strategies, and innovations in lending, all in the heart of sunny Orlando, Florida.
We're bringing together industry experts, thought leaders, and innovators for a two-day networking, learning, and inspiration event.
So join us August 7th and 8th as we explore the future of lending and development at LendingCon in Orlando, Florida at the Rosen Center on iDrive.
Stay tuned for today's guest, an exclusive LendingCon interview with Mr. Matt Hostetler, Chief Development Officer of Red Roof Inn and LendingCon board member.
Don't miss out. Stay tuned and reserve your spot at LendingCon.com.
And welcome back, and welcome again to LendingCon Podcast 2024. We're so excited to have with us today Mr. Matt Hostetler, the Red Roof Chief Development Officer. A lot of things going on for you guys. Matt, tell us a little bit about what's going on with your brand and kind of where you're headed to and what's happening.
Well, first of all, thank you for inviting me on to the LendingCon podcast. I'm very proud to be a sponsor of LendingCon and very proud to have Jane Guadam and your company as a great friend, phenomenal relationship in our industry. There's a lot going on at Red Roof. We just recently announced our new president going forward, Zach Garib, who brings a tremendous amount of experience from the hotel space, full service, mid-scale, select service, economy space. And we're very excited to have him on board and look forward to our future. We like to always say that our future is bright at Red Roof. And, this past year, we celebrated 50 years of being in the business in the economy space. So we're very excited about the next 50.
Huge milestone. There's a lot of brands that's come and gone in that 50 years. And, the tried and true of the strong brands like the Red Roof have been the ones that have definitely stayed true to the course. And, it shows proof. I mean, you guys are opening new brands already. You guys are developing and refurbishing some of your old brands. There's a lot of stuff going on inside of them.
Anytime a hotel company has got decades under their belt, they're definitely doing something right.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, what's great too is we have a fantastic franchisee customer base. They've bought into how the brand thinks over all these years, and as evolution has it, we try not to amenity creep with our brands because we try to keep it simple, heads in beds, good solid customer service, and create customer loyalty along the way.
What would you say speaking of customer loyalty, what would you say the key to that customer loyalty is? I know we've got there's some GMs and some operations people involved that are always concerned about what is that loyalty? How do we get the loyalty within a brand? What is something that stands out for Red Roof?
Well, you have to stay true to who you are as a brand and who you're going to serve. And when I say serve, you're going to serve your franchisee customer, and then collectively together, we're going to serve our consumer customer, our head in the bed, right? So as long as we are, as a brand, aligned in that order, we're going to create that loyalty. And, when somebody pulls in that curb appeal, that expectation is consistent across the U.S. From city to city, state to state. I think you watch that loyalty grow because the expectation is there, and then it's delivered by each and every one of our franchisee customers. It's very important.
Speaking of your franchisors, what would you say to somebody who's asking you, why should I franchise today? What's stopping you from going the independent route, which has become ever more popular recently?
Well, it's interesting. That's an interesting question. I mean, I think everybody has a different answer. Everyone should have every customer should have a different answer. And depending on if it's a hotel that's already existing or whether it's somebody going into a market that needs served in a specific space, whether it's
mid-scale, upscale, luxury, or economy and upper economy where we play. It's really important. I mean, in today's day, customers are looking for consistency. And when you partner, I use that word in the right way. When you partner with a brand and you franchise with them, there's an expectation that wherever you go is going to be pretty similar to where you've been with that brand. So it's very important. So, and we'll talk about the market first. So does the market exude boutique or independent style hotels where brands may not be of a necessity, or is it a market where there's a lot of competition and there's a lot of branding? So you want to stay specific. You could take a look at it that way. So if you're in a market where there's a lot of mid-scale, you may want to take a look at what the economy or the upper mid-scale opportunity has to offer. And there may be a space there for you to touch, to be able to drive some of those customers to your doors, whether it be a new construction opportunity or a conversion of an asset that needs reposition. There's a lot of that opportunity out there.
Yeah, definitely. There's always opportunity, especially with ever-growing cities and suburbs, and the metropolis areas are growing, suburbs are growing. Any major, like I look right here in Orlando. If you go to the surrounding areas in Orlando, there's hotels and there's apartment complexes, everything popping up. And I'm sure as you travel around, you see that in a lot of urban cities and metropolis cities around the country, correct?
No, yeah. I mean, it's everywhere. I mean, I've been pretty much in every state with Red Roof except for Alaska and Hawaii, making visits to opportunities or current customers that we're, continue to do business with and help them grow their portfolio. And you'll see independent opportunities, boutique, where you may have a savvy operator or an operator that's been there for years, where the current customer base could be local, it could be or out of state, but they're very knowledgeable of the market and they know what hotels are there, whether they're independent, boutique, or branded, and they just have again, we'll go back to that word, loyalty to that market and to that particular location. And sometimes you'll see these assets later in their life cycle change hands, and then the new owner may see a different future for that particular asset, and they may brand it in various different ways, depending on how those markets are moving and shifting along the way. So, and what their portfolio looks like. So they may be looking to position an economy or mid-scale type brand in their portfolio where they have a lot of upscale and upper upscale, and they're starting to diversify in their asset portfolio.
So with that being said, you're talking about helping the investors developing the properties, either the conversions or just a rebranding or expansions or new builds. What are some of the strategic benefits that Red Roof sees in providing that key money for those franchises and stuff to do that? What are some of the benefits for that?
Oh, well, there's a LendingCon conversation if I've
That's what we're here for.
Scripted them well, right?
So I remember last year sitting on the panel with my esteemed colleagues talking about key money, and there are benefits to the key money, and there's pitfalls to the key money. So you really have to take a good look at why you as a hotelier developer want key money in your deal stack or deal structure going forward. From a brand perspective, it helps us solidify brand presence if it's a tough to get into type market. And frankly, when the franchisors do offer the key money option, the requirement typically is for a complete if it's new construction, for everything to be completed, reviewed, signed off on by the brand, and before it opens, and then the key money typically is dispersed. And that's the same way with a conversion opportunity as well. Because if you're going to open that brand up, if it's other brand or whether it's Red Roof, we want to create that wow factor. So if we're going to invest our
or earmark money for an investment, we're going to want to make sure that that money is being utilized in the appropriate way in order for the franchisee and our loyal customer base to get the best bang for the buck. And when they show up, then everything's complete and it's very much in order when it comes to brand standards. And then there's your consistency, and there's where you get your loyalty created. And when you walk in the door, they're like, "Wow, this is exactly what I expected," because that's what I had at the last Red Roof that I
Down the road, yeah.
was able to stay in.
So does that help with the brand influence and just the overall expansion of the market?
Well, when you talk about the expansion of it, sure. I mean, we may go into a market and that we've had a difficult time getting into, and if it's a higher RevPAR market, and we can certainly go in and offer that if it's something that a particular developer, and let's just call the developer somebody that owns the hotel, or they're going to reposition the hotel into the economy or upper economy space. That's where we get a little creative with it, and that's where it is more impactful for us as a brand. We don't have let's just say a specific key money program that we offer. It's really just about what is strategic for us and if it works for that asset owner as well. Because remember, we're going to take a risk with the money with them, but they're really truly the ones as the owner taking the risk on the market, the asset. They're spending the real big dollars.
So it's not a solidified program. You're tailoring it to each investor.
Absolutely. And I think really, people can say they have a key money program, but that program where everybody gets the same. I think if you dove into the market and dove into all the brands, they're sort of different as well. So, but we don't talk those two words day in and day out in our brand communication to opportunities, prospects, and new construction developers, all that sort of thing. It's not just a daily conversation with us. It's with those that may need it, a market that we would like to be in, and it works for both parties.
Sure.
Would there ever be a opportunity or a place where you would not offer key money?
Yeah, I mean, I think typically if we're already, if we're in a market, let's just say we're in a city where we have, a really good distribution of our brands, where we're well known there, we may take a look at it. Depending on RevPAR, you got to look at your rate of return, and this is what franchisors do with their money. They want to see what their internal rate of return is going to be on that money that they hand out. So, we're looking at paybacks as franchisors, not just me. We're looking at paybacks. So we're looking at not only being in a market and providing a hotel with a great operator, great management company, developer, however it's structured, we're looking at opportunities to not only put our brand in a market, but with the right people as well. So if it's not the right market, and it's let's just say it's of the RevPAR is not as high, it's more beneficial for us to strike let's just say strike a deal reasonable for both parties for them to ramp up.
And okay, great. Along those lines, then, when you talk about the market and the competition in the market, we all know the hospitality market is competitive. We all know the franchisors that are looking to work with you are also shopping someone else. So where do you offer the value propositions for those franchisors that make them view you as the end game to use?
Well, we're always offering our value proposition because that's what's first. And brands understand, or they should understand, that specifically the ones that are iconic, that have been around for as long as us. They have positioned themselves in markets where people know them. So we really want to make sure that our value proposition is understood first before there's any discussion of bringing them in with key money or because of the key money. So in other words, we would rather people buy the value proposition than the deal structure. Because at the end of the day, when you talk about key money, you're talking about a long-term play where from, depending on the franchisor and their payback, 10, 15, 20 years. And depending on you as the developer, as the person that's positioning this property with key money, there's if their exit strategy is short term, key money is likely going to be, it could be an inhibitor when it comes to
Sure.
flipping or selling it to the next owner of that particular asset, because they're going to do one of two things. They're either going to pay the unamortized portion back to the franchisor, or that new owner is going to have to take it on. And that kind of is back to sales price. I mean, I'm not a
Right.
broker. I never played one on television, but if you ask one, I would expect that they'll give you that answer as well.
Yeah, and from a hotel operator, that sounds great, because a lot of what as hotel operators we do is establish our relationships with the guests before you start caring about what rate they're paying,
Right.
how long they're staying. So it sounds like you're doing that at that level as well, which is a really, really great way to go about it.
Yeah, I mean, we wake up every day. We all know hospitality is a 24/7 business. We wake up every day, and we're 12 hours thinking about this and thinking about it in our sleep. And we wake up at Red Roof and talk about what's going to bring value to our franchisee that's not going to cost an arm and a leg to do so. So we're very involved with this, as the company itself still has north of 60 of their own hotels, and they're like our biggest test kitchen, right? So we have the ability to go in and test things, and before we launch them, we're able to test them, see what the return on the investment is, and based on the expense of that is whether we roll it out or not. So there are a lot of great things that people that own assets and franchise at the same time have a benefit and a value to a developer or a hotelier that's going to convert particularly to maybe their brand for them to look at. So we eat, sleep, and drink the opportunity of making our brand's value proposition better and better each day. And there's things that never come to the table that we talk about. And then there's, what do they say? Google fails how many times in a day? We don't want to say we fail that many times in a day, but we try new things and they never make it to the other hotels. So we're doing the same thing in our own lane.
Awesome. We'll be right back with Mr. Matt Hostetler, with the Chief Development Officer for Red Roof Inn. This podcast brought to you by IHRMC, the go-to hospitality management company in Orlando, Florida, and the power behind LendingCon 2024. And we're back with Mr. Matt Hostetler with the Red Roof.
Matt, you were just talking about your relationships, you're forging, key money, value propositions. I just wanted to piggyback off that a little bit, because I wanted to find out your relationship building with your franchisors, and how is that correlating to the long-term success of the sustainability of the brand, how the guest service is impacted, and all that nutshell. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. And thanks for that. That's a fantastic question. When you walk into the corporate headquarters in Columbus, Ohio, to be specific, New Albany, Ohio, you are greeted, and the wall says genuine relationships, real results. And if you're going to trademark that and use it, you better be true to it. And we take it very seriously when it comes to those relationships. And I think it's very important for the relationship to be genuine on both sides of the ledger, meaning franchisee, franchisor. And, I can speak specifically to, and you gentlemen can probably think about it and speak to it as well, what everyone in this industry went through, and frankly, other industries went through starting in 2020. If you have a not so great relationship with your franchisor, you may have had a little bit more of a difficult time during COVID era. And, those with genuine relationships with their franchisee and franchisor alike, I believe will say that they got through something that was very difficult together. And that's what was important. And if you remember, a lot of the franchisors, they put their best feet forward. And I say we were part of that as well, to reduce some things from an expense perspective, a fees perspective, to assist in our franchisees staying above, not only above water, but, well afloat during those tough times. And, I made some, we made calls to each and every one of our franchisees, our franchise advisory council members, to find out, just frankly, empathy calls to see how they were doing, because, we wanted to know. We were all grounded. It's very important to just talk to them, see them, and we had a lot of teams meetings and understanding where they were. And we were happy to say that our franchisee and our brand overall fared very, very well through a very tough time. And I think when you have a very good relationship with your franchisor, you have that ability to pick up the phone and have a conversation. That's why you can say you have a genuine relationship and you can get real results, because you know who to call and they're going to pick up. Is it revenue management? You have a revenue manager because you're on the program, and they're going to help you through those difficult times. Sure. Ready sales, we have a sales team, we have a national account sales team. Everything everywhere was affected, and that's where you really find out how good your relationships are measured. And we're very proud of that. We're not perfect, but we strive to be the absolute best in our space. We have a 92% franchisee satisfaction rate, so wow. We're glad to boast that.
Well, and I'm sure that your half of a century involvement in the industry didn't just start in 2020. Right. You can backtrack that to the recession in 2008. You could probably backtrack that to the September 11th of 2001. All these things that were huge impacts on travel industry. Absolutely. I think we all felt them when we were in this business for that long. So.
Absolutely. I joined this iconic brand in 2014. We had, just north of 325 open franchise hotels, and with Red Roof Plus, in suites, and those in our minds are different tiers. They're different brands. They're different segments. You won't find a Red Roof Plus parked right next to a Red Roof Inn and Suites. So we don't put them on top of each other. They each have their own area of impact and area of protection. So, but then we've launched our extended stay brand, Hometown Studios by Red Roof, and then we also brought to the market our Red Collection, which is a very unique soft branding, just above if you want to be independent, but you get to utilize our back of the house. So again, we like to build it, and frankly, every one of our Red Collections are a tribute to who we are as genuine relationships, because they're already Red Roof franchisees of ours. Yeah. So that just shows that once it's kind of like the old, I like to say the life cereal Mikey effect. Once Mikey likes it, you think you have back and want to do more.
Right. Mikey likes it.
Mikey likes it. We all like it. Right. So with that being said, you talk about the relationships and you talk about the brand and how the hotel brands and the franchisees work together. How does that affect the brand loyalty and the reputation between the competitive hospitality industry?
Well, it does. It will resonate throughout a community of hoteliers of their relationship with their franchisor. Again, I go back to, we're not perfect, but we have franchisees that speak on our behalf, our testimonials, our franchise advisory council. We have some franchise advisory council members that have not only been on the franchise advisory council once, but they're back for a second and third term. So they speak to other prospects for us to say, here's what I'm going to tell you. Here's all the great things. Here's all of the good things. And here's the things they're still working on. And that's really how we go to market, to say, hey, again, we're not perfect, but we're striving to be the best in our space and in our segment. So that creates loyalty when everybody is consistent in the messaging. And frankly, you have a franchise customer that is speaking on your behalf. And you say, here's a list of phone numbers. These aren't, they're not segmented here. You get the good ones only. Just call it. And by the way, if not, just call the hotel directly and ask for the owner and see if you get them and talk to them about us, because we're not afraid of what anyone has to say. We have transparency at Red Roof, much like that one airline.
Yeah.
Well, that's a testament to your longevity.
But yeah. So, great information there. I know that this is a great opportunity for Red Roof, for LendingCon as well. I know you're on the board of LendingCon as well. And I know you guys got a lot of great things going on there. What are some benefits that people can expect to get for attending LendingCon this year?
Well, I can tell you our franchisee base has an opportunity that'll be coming out very shortly, and our internal and external to our franchisees under one roof. So I won't give that away yet.
Okay. No trade secrets given here today. Come on.
Give us some dips.
We're looking forward to offering our franchisees the opportunity to sit in on the doctor's presentation about finance
Cool.
on the day before LendingCon starts. We're excited to sponsor that, and I would expect that we're going to see a lot of people take advantage of it because it's coming from Rosen, which is it's a great program. We're looking forward to it as well ourselves. We're going to be there supporting. Also, we're going to be on panels and anything we can do from my perspective, from being on the board to help the LendingCon board every year make LendingCon an even more successful event that offers so much more and specific to the lending environment and finance specific, but also get to meet great franchisors, brands, vendors to help support that that specific piece, and that's the finance piece. So they'll see, we have vendors alike with us that also offer phenomenal finance packages, and that's part of our value proposition. We don't take rebates. We just work with great vendor providers with all of our products and services, making sure that what we ask them to provide to our franchisee owners is the best of the best in the industry and in their space of what they're providing. So that's what's key for us. And again, I think the networking is going to be phenomenal. And again, it's in sunny Florida, Orlando, so people can.
Hey, can't beat Florida, right?
Bring your sunscreen.
Bring your sunscreen and bathing suit,
Please.
Absolutely. You can piggyback that and spend the weekend with Mickey and Minnie.
There you go. Sounds like a game plan. Well, thank you so much for your time today,
Thank you.
Matt.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing you and your entire team August 7th and 8th at the Rosen Center here in Orlando, Florida. Thanks again, and have a wonderful afternoon.
Thanks, Matt.
And on behalf of Red Roof, I want to say thank you for what you do for the industry and helping us grow our fantastic tow industry.
Great. Thank you, sir. Look forward to seeing you in August.